Yeah, right. Somebody goes, hey, yeah, the problem to that thing. And then I got somebody else look at me and go, you know what? York, brother, basically hard luck. Basically hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. York, brother, basically hard luck. Basically hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck.
Good morning and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I'm your certified, qualified West Side host, Steve Lucky Luciano. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You tuned into the greatest show on earth, the Hard Luck Show. I got the Indian in the house.
Chumahan, the elegant barbarian, here once again.
And got my man, old Blue Eyes, audio genius.
That's right. I feel like
it?
you need one more. Something, that's right.
That's right.
Sean Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certified audio professional.
That's right.
There you go.
There you go.
Got Salmon on visuals.
Salmon.
Dragon Balls.
We got Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, with a Z. And today, you guys, raining from the West Side.
Yes.
Got a special guest.
Yes.
We got Dan from Juice Magazine in the house.
Dan, the
What's
man.
up, man? Motherfucking West Side culture in the fucking house.
Yes.
Tonight.
Damn, no
The real
pressure.
deal. What's up, Dan?
Fucking honored to be here, man. You kidding me?
Yes.
This guy. I just saw
You.
dude, nah, like, fuck.
Man, I was over at Skinhead Rob, Accesses, and
Olsen.
Steve Olsen's art show at Brooklyn Project. Shout out to Brooklyn Project.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Dom. Hell yeah.
And we ran into each other, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Fucking Juice Magazine. Like this, you guys, listen, listeners, everybody. Juice Magazine. How long has Juice Magazine been around?
We'll be turning 30 years old this year.
30 years old.
Yeah.
Listen, these dudes were doing a print magazine on the West Side fucking whole skate scene, just the whole West Side scene from 30 years ago, man. Like Cartoon, Estelle, like all of us.
Yeah.
And then others. Jay Adams, Dogtown, like everybody has participated and fucked with this magazine. These guys are still rocking and rolling. Like anybody on the West Side,
Yeah.
you mentioned this magazine, bro, and anybody who want to be in it and fuck with these dudes. Been around, consistent, and part of the culture of the West Side, man, in so many different ways, the Southland.
Damn. That was great.
I mean,
no,
really,
we appreciate
for real,
it, man.
bro.
Well, we love it there. I mean, it's like there's no place like Venice. I've never experienced any place like Venice in my life. And everybody there is like so multifaceted. Like people, you meet somebody, you have no fucking idea who you're talking to until
Yeah.
you know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And at that point, if they've let you that far, it's like magic, you know? And like we feel super fucking lucky to be able to, not to use lucky, but we feel lucky to be able to like tell the stories of all these people, like like authentically though, not just write about them. Like let them tell their stories. It's not my story, it's their story.
And you guys have like documented
We've done
the
it.
truth.
Yeah, we've tried. You know.
What do you want to say? You look like you're ready to explode over there, partner.
I mean, when we talk about Venice and we talk about the longevity that Juice has had, what changes have you seen lately to Venice and Venice culture? And be real, don't fuck around.
I won't fuck around, man. So Venice is interesting. It's a fucking weird place because like every 10 years it feels like there's money, then there's no money. There's money, there's no money. But the consistency is it's the streets. It's LA's backyard. So
Right.
it's not owned by a private. It's not like Santa Monica that's privately owned and the grass is green and the cops are assholes just to be assholes. Like Venice is like LA, man. So you have a whole mix of people that are super rich, super poor, super living on the street, or just skating or trying to like live that like beach lifestyle. Lately, though, I mean, the last 7 years it was kind of fucked up because like I don't like to throw people under the bus, but some companies came down and like kind of took over and tried to push out the locals and push out the local businesses and out like price everybody there. But
Right.
Trying to remove some of the culture.
yeah, they moved there.
Abbot-Kinney started looking different, right?
Dude, I remember when fuck, man, 99. Like, I remember the first person I met in Venice was Jesse Martinez, and he was like, don't fucking skate down Abbot-Kinney after 8 o'clock because that's a ghost town over there. Like, you don't want to fuck around. You're white. You're going to fuck up, you know? And I was like, all right, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then GQ magazine names it like the most, whatever, popular
Prominent street in America.
And
Right.
overnight, that shit changed, you know? And it was like, holy shit, the buildings there were, you know, boarded up, and now they're $25 million, you know?
Right.
It's crazy.
Remember
But-
the old brig?
Yeah, of course, man. Dude,
Fuck,
I think
dude.
I saw my first like fight in there that like was like the weirdest bar fight because no one fucking stepped in. It was like
Yeah.
it was like one-on-one. No one said shit. Dude got knocked out, left him in the corner. His homie fucking came over, bought the dude who knocked him out a fucking round, and was like, yeah, he was fucking up, bro. You know, the guy fucking wakes up and starts drinking with everybody again. I was like, this place is amazing. You know,
Yeah,
like that's how
yeah,
it should
yeah.
be,
That's
right?
Right,
Sounds
that's
like-
called
Yeah.
dispute resolution.
Yeah, bouncers out front hitting on a chick, didn't care. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I love this fucking place. You know, it was
Yeah.
great, man. And then, you know, they sold it since, you know, recently,
yeah,
and
it's
it's
fucking
like
all different.
it's like the 40-second eye roll on that. But
But
yeah.
so going off of that then, right? I mean, so when Juice started, it was a different media landscape. And
Completely,
Here
yeah.
so in today's world, why does Juice continue to thrive? What makes it different, and what is the struggle for a magazine now, or how is it different?
That's a lot to unpack right there.
yeah,
Let's
we
go.
can,
unpack
we
it.
can unpack that. Like,
Unpack
I
it.
think,
Yeah.
I think the easy way to say it is, you know, back in the day when Juice first started, it was like, you know, razor blades and glue and blue lines, like things that like Xerox machines, like there was no computers, right?
Right.
So no desktop publishing. So then the major change came when computers came into the world. This is like, whatever, that it is what it is, right? And then
Yep.
desktop publishing started happening. So it was a little bit easier to produce the graphics and do stuff like that, but like print was still radio and television, like the three main mediums that have always kind of lasted were print, radio, and television. So then this is way pre-internet, pre-fax machines, all that shit, right? So then
Right.
it's like, you know, print was the way to like kind of have that conversation for the culture. So that part's never changed, but as the landscape changed throughout the years and the internet was invented, and then everyone's like, you gotta have Friendster and you gotta have MySpace and you gotta have, you know, social media and all this shit started. It's like, you know, whatever, they have that song Video Killed the Radio Star. It's like Instagram killed the magazine star, sort of, like for some
Right.
people, but it didn't. Like, if you, the thing that set us apart is we're always really big on timeless content. So we don't date a lot of our stuff, and all of our interviews are peer to peer. So it's like, you know, like you guys talking to each other. It's not like you can bullshit each other. So we'd have
Right.
like Jay Adams interviewing Tony Alva, you know, so like they were there together, man. They can't fucking bullshit each other.
Right,
so,
right.
So culturally speaking, like you're documenting the history of skateboarding from the people that actually pioneered it. So like we're lucky enough to work with people like Jeff Ho and like Dibby Fletcher and Herbie Fletcher, like the first family of surfing.
Yeah,
and they're like,
right.
they fucking tell it like it is, man. You know, and like no one can rewrite it to their liking so that history can get changed for their fucking, you know, approval or, you know, benefit, so to speak. So when you have like movies coming out and documentaries coming out, shit like that, it's like, you know, we're the facts, you know. If you guys want to reference real history, we're not going to let you fucking, you know, polish it up and hand it off to somebody to fucking exploit it. Like, it's just not how it works. So we kind of have like a moral imperative to like make sure that skateboarding stays fucking raw and stays real and stays dangerous and stays rock and roll and stays hip hop and stays like in the hands of skateboarders. Cause it's like, fuck all the rest of that, you know? Like, I don't know.
Does that, you know, the way he's describing that,
Yeah.
does that resonate with you on Indian history?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Because it really, the way you describe it is protecting something to keep it sacred and real and true to what it is. And it can get so changed and possible, and others people's influence of what they really want it to mean or how they want it to come off. It
It
almost
does.
sounded like Indian culture of protecting it.
It
in a way.
is, but like I almost liken it more to like what Dan's saying about people wanting to polish it and then like commercialize it at a high level,
Right.
to be something like seen on, you know, Amazon, pink headdresses that anyone could buy and put them on, and that's just fucking bullshit, right? That's
That's
just
it, right.
pure fucking bullshit. So when you were saying that about like the history but it's also, dude, the skateboard history does have a relationship with the American Indian history too, because skateboard history is also a little bit about taking this new environment that wasn't intended for you and trying to find a way to make it your own.
Absolutely. And using the environments that exist that were not made for us to play on and fucking using those as our canvases. So taking shit that's architecturally made to like a handrail to walk upstairs, and we're turning it into performance art.
Right.
And trespassing, and it's epic, you know? So like it's kind of like a big middle finger to like society when you go and skate at somebody's like property or some house or some backyard pool, or
because implied
yeah.
in those architectural decisions for the skaters is that this isn't for you, right? They're saying this is a pool, it's meant for swimming, or this
Sure.
is a rail, it's meant for people to hold on to, and it's for people who are going to come in here and buy a X, Y, and Z.
Right.
It's not for some kid.
No.
Right, to come and fucking skate in the pool when there's no water, or rail slide, or rack his balls on the fucking, right?
Right. It's not like that. And it's like, that's why I think there's so much crossover, like with a lot of, like skateboarding is kind of a tribal culture, if you will.
Right.
Like, same with surfing, same with like hip hop, same with like,
Surfing, which also
Yeah.
did originate from indigenous people in
it
Hawaii.
sure did.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that one's a weird one because surfing kind of got, you know, homogenized, but it's also geographical. So you can't just surf everywhere.
Right.
You can fucking skate anywhere, man.
That's right.
Walk outside, get it. You know, so
Right.
And now, kind of going back to the print version of things. So now with Instagram and social media, anybody can kind of, you know, present their world to the world. You know, so skateboarding embraced it early. You know, like skateboarders are always early adopters of technology, though. Like I've always
Like video.
Always, yeah, like video, edit your own shit. Like,
Right.
it's the ultimate teacher, man. Skateboarding is just like fall, fucking get up. So don't be afraid to fail forward, you know? Like that's what we do. So when it comes to business or it comes to life or relationships and shit like that, skateboarding to me is the ultimate teacher of that. But for us, like we feel kind of like we're custodians of the culture. Like we're not trying to guide the culture or tell people how to think, but we're definitely going to like let the people who live the culture speak their mind, and people can learn from that however they want. I mean, some people don't agree with everything that people say. I mean, obviously that'd be fucked up actually if everyone did, but like
Right.
skating is very like cynical. It's very fucking difficult to do. It'll remind your ass every time you get on it. It's like, you know, you get some act right every time you skate, you're going to fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's what you do with that, right? So
Right.
so for us, keeping print going is kind of like skating because it's really fucking hard to do. And there's only a couple of us left in skateboarding that do print. So, but we still believe in it, you know? We still believe that this is a good radio station for our culture. And once it's in print and it's, you know, we fact check shit, so we don't just print stuff. You know, like we actually check and see if the people are telling the truth or not. We let everyone see their interviews first to make sure they didn't say something. Like, we don't like to use it for like talking shit about people or anything like that. Like, we're more about talk about ideas, don't talk about people, because that's kind of, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's kind of fucked up. I think, I don't know. I get more excited to talk about ideas than people. Like, but like that, you know, television and programming and all the stuff that's like being thrown our way is very much like distracting of authenticity because they don't have authentic intention. So when what we're doing and everything we do has to have authentic intention, or else it's, what's the point? You know, like we're not going to waste paper on bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So
Right.
like that's our personal beliefs and how we do it, but not everybody does that. So
Right.
it's fucking hard, of course, man. You know, like, but so is skateboarding.
Mr. and Mrs. Earbuds, you're hearing a man who's just talking about ideas, and you may be sitting there thinking like, oh, you know, that's great for him, but you might not have any concept of the vast forest of interviews of amazing people that this guy has had. I mean,
Let's go through some. Come
all
on.
right.
Bring it, Chumahan.
All right. You interviewed. Shh, everyone, just calm the fuck down. You interviewed Weeman.
Oh, that was my first, man. I think that was one of my first interviews that I did, honestly. And Weeman was hilarious, dude. Like, we went and skated. So, like, at the time, like, he was on Dogtown. So it was like Jim Muir, you know Jim, obviously.
yeah.
It was like Jim Muir, Eric Dressen. My first board ever was an Eric Dressen board. That's a whole nother story. And like, Weeman and one other dude, and Jim Muir was taking the photos. Like I didn't even start shooting photos yet at this point. So we're like skating in Hermosa, and like I meet Weeman for the first time, and like I could skate okay. So like we were skating together, and I was just like, this dude's fucking hilarious, man. Like I don't even know. And he's just like, ask me anything. And so we're sitting in like this fucking little cafe, and this waitress comes up who's like, she was cute, you know, and he was like, I'm gonna get her number for you and stuff. And I was like, this is my introduction to Weeman, right? So he's totally hitting on this waitress for me, and I'm supposed to be interviewing him, and he wouldn't let me like interview him at the time because he was just like fucking with me, and I was like, oh my God, this is the hardest job on earth. Like, how do you get the dude to like actually answer questions? Then eventually, like, he kind of did, but it was like pre-Jackass, you know what I mean? So this is like.
Right, so it wasn't
way
like
before.
the known Weeman.
No, this was like little unknown DogTown Weeman, you know? Like, I didn't mean to say little, like that was weird. But like, he's such a fucking good dude though, you know? And like, he's really smart, and he'll fuck with you, you know? And like, I understand Jackass now completely, because
What do you mean?
they just fuck with people, man. You know, they fuck with each other on film, but like in general, like everything's sarcasm, you know, like everything. I mean, he cares about people and stuff, don't get me wrong. but
Right.
Man, that was the first time I like walked away from an interview, and I was like, I don't know if I fucking got a good interview or not. Like, it was one of my first.
Did you
so-
have like a fucking list of questions in your pocket, and you were like,
did.
Weeman,
Yeah.
wait, hold on. Number 2, what's your favorite food? Like, what was an important question that you wanted to ask Weeman?
I wanted to know, just because I'm a skater, like, how did you get your first sponsor, and like, what did it take for you to get into the position for people to see you as a skateboarder? You know, and like, he of course was like, "Oh, dude, she's cute, right?" You know, like I was like, "Come on, man!" Like, but he answered, like he was really like forthcoming with his information, which I thought was cool, because like I try to talk to people like from that level rather than like I try not to ask like just boring questions if I can help it. But that was the first in-person interview that I had done. Like everything else I had done on the phone, so I was like, I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? He still calls me to this day. He calls me. Because everyone knows me as like Juice Dan, so he calls me Jan from Deuce, like still to this day. Like that's who he is, though. It's hilarious, you know. And like but he's gone on to do, you know, fucking epic shit, dude. You know, like Chronic Tacos and Jackass. I mean, that's a big one, obviously, but
Huge.
Like, yeah, that was fun. That one, but that one was more skater to skater. But and then. You interviewed George Clinton. Yeah, man.
What's that like? What's it like to interview the great?
Epic. I mean, he's so smart, man. Like, I think people kind of look at him like, I don't know how people see him, but like, he's definitely been like on the road his whole life. Like, he doesn't own a house, as far as I understand, to this day. He still just travels all over the place. You know, where you lay your hat as your home kind of situation.
Yeah.
And he was just partying and like raging. I think I told you a little bit before, like, you know, they don't show up on time at concerts ever. And like we were in New York, and Rockstar Games was launching Grand Theft Auto. It was their first game that they were launching, and it was supposed to be George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, and like KRS-One was there because he's like a gamer dude. And so George Clinton was like 2 hours late. So KRS-One performed, like just got on stage and just
show must go
went.
on.
It was so sick. Like, I'm a huge hip hop fan, so I was like, what the fuck's happening right now? And then George Clinton shows up, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm here, you know, whatever. And they're like, dude, we all gotta leave, you know? Like,
It's bedtime.
the bar owner's like, yo, I know it's New York, but it's 3 a.m., man. We close in an hour.
Right.
And then the Funkadelics showed up like 20 minutes later, and they fully played till like 5 in the morning. It was insane. And like all the Rockstar people kind of left, but I had interviewed him on the phone like a week before that, and he remembered everyone's names. Like he meets you once and remembers you. So like to this day, like when he comes through Venice, like he'll call, because we never change our number. He'll be like, yeah, I'm in Venice, you know, it's Clinton, man. We're like, what the fuck, dude, you know? And he'll just be wherever he goes. He's got family everywhere. It's
Got
crazy,
family everywhere.
man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What's it like to interview Tony Hawk? Probably one of the most infamous, famous skateboarders, right, of all time.
He's fucking smart, man.
Is he?
I think he's got a genius IQ. I think it really, like, I think that's actually true. You know, like, super smart, super calculated, does not fucking mix his words. Like, if you ask him a question, he doesn't want to answer it. Professional, you know, spin off or what is it, detour?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he'll pivot. It was like super fast.
Deflection.
But he was really, really honest and really cool, because like it depends who's interviewing him, right? So if
Yeah.
you're like a skater, like he's not going to BS you because you're a skateboarder, you know. But if you're like some whatever, somebody's like, oh, the 900 guy, you know, he's
Yeah,
always like, oh man, come on, dude, you know what I mean? Like, but he's like, as far as I'm concerned, like, you hear a lot of different things about Tony Hawk, but I can say two things absolutely. He's given back to skateboarding more than probably most skaters will ever fucking give back to skateboarding, straight up. Like, builds skate parks all over the frickin' country, puts money in people's pockets when they need it, like, supports people in ways that most people will never see. And he did it all from skateboarding. He's never sold himself out. Like, everyone's like, oh, he made all this money. I was like, as a skateboarder. Like,
Right.
he didn't make money as a rollerblader. He made money as a skateboarder.
Not
So
as
he-
an actor.
Yeah,
Not as
I mean,
a,
he doesn't sell out. He sells up. You know, I mean, the guy, he's freaking super smart, man. And his family, his sister and his brother, they're all like really intelligent people, man. And like, I'm a fan of Tony, man. Like,
What is the difference
Yeah.
between? Because you interviewed Helmet.
yeah, I love Paige from Helmet. Dude, he's so rad. It trips me out. Honestly, you're like bringing up stuff. You did some research. That's pretty sick, dude. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Cause in Brooklyn for a while, like Helmet used to rehearse above us. And like, when you're a kid, you listen to stuff and you're like, okay, like, I don't know. It's like your favorite band, and then you meet them and you're like, fuck, like, they're either going to be total dicks or they're going to be amazing. And like Helmet, like Paige is amazing, dude. He like scores movies now. Like, that's, you know what I mean? But Helmet was so tight when they played, you know,
Right.
like they're like, that was their thing. Like, dead fucking, as an audio person, you know, dead on. Like, they
Right.
don't have metronomes. They don't have, like, they're just, it's in their heads. And like, it's insane. Like, they're just on.
Precision.
But then when he talks, he's like the most mellow guy ever. And you're just like, dude, you're so intense when you play on stage, and you're so mellow when you're not. But he's really smart too. Like, he's definitely a driving force. in
What's the
music.
difference between interviewing skaters and musicians for you? Like, do you take a different strategy? Do you always ask the same questions? What do you do? I'm trying to learn how to interview.
I don't know. It's case by case, right? So I believe that if you're interested in what the person does, then yes, you should prepare with questions if you can. But if you can have a real conversation with somebody and, like, I think connect with people is the most important part that I've learned from interviewing people. Because, I mean, there's certain points where, okay, so if you're interviewing like a really famous person and they've been interviewed by fucking 9 million people,
Right.
like, you know, you don't want them to be like, yeah, you know what I mean? So you want to like have, I like to have conversations with people, you know, and like make people laugh and like fucking get them off their game a little so that they're comfortable enough to like open up to you. And like, it just depends on the line of questioning. But if an artist has a new record coming out, they're getting interviewed by like 70 or 80 different journalists, right? So like, you just want to stand out, I think, a little bit. Like, you guys are super cool. So like, if somebody comes in here, they're going to feel like, okay, I'm not being interviewed by fucking, you know, ABC News at 6 a.m.
Right.
doing,
I hope not.
check out my new record, man. It's fucking, you know, like, so.
Here's the cut off
Yeah.
of Sting's new album.
Right, and it's mutual respect, I
Take
think.
it away.
Too. Yeah, take it away.
Take it away.
But it's hard. Musicians and skaters are very similar though, because they're fucking painfully creative, right? So to make an album or to write a record or to skate, like, you have to go through hell to get to like the creative process that you feel is that you can share with the world. So I think we all share that same drive and pain that like you can tap into and relate to. And I think that's, for me, that's what I like to try to do. But
Yeah.
it doesn't always work, you know what I mean? They're not all winners, man, but I don't know. It's fun, you know? Fuck. How often do you get to talk to your heroes? Like, and
Fuck.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Every Friday night, I get
I
to
mean, you
talk to
guys
my
do.
hero. Big love.
Straight up, though. Yeah, no, dude.
I mean,
I'm tripping.
I agree with a lot of it. I think either you're interested in the work that you're doing, either you're interested in these people, you're interested in the process of, you want to hear the stories yourself, you want to meet the people yourself.
Yeah.
It's important to you. I think for somebody that's done it as long as you've done it, there's a big reason to it. It's a lot more than, I think there's people that are, it's just like podcasting.
Sure.
There's people that are doing podcasts because they want to be Joe Rogan, they want to make a bunch of money, they want to, whatever it might be.
Sure, whatever.
Or
Yeah.
they're trying to get to that road. And the podcast is all about the views, and how many,
right.
and where are we at, and when is the check, and how are we gonna fucking do it? And then there's us
Right.
who just show up, bro, because we want to hear, we want to ask, we
Yeah.
want to know, and we want our people to know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's not an end. There's not necessarily an end goal to the thing. There isn't a monetary place that we're gonna hit where we're like,
Right.
did it.
No, that's why it's dope. Like
And
that
I-
comes back to intention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just having a conversation with somebody that's kind of like us.
Straight
You
up.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That and I think it kind of drips from there. You know, if there's a real interest, if there's a real intent.
And I think that translates across to any level of an artist.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
most of the people we interview are creatives. So like there's always going to be a common denominator. And like, yeah, I mean, okay, so the podcast thing, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, there's people that think they're going to do one podcast. They got like a superstar on their podcast and they're going to be like huge and they're going to be like, that's not how it works, man. You know what I mean? Like if you're not sincere and you're not authentic, like people will see that shit and they'll hear that
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? And like
They won't connect
They
to
won't connect.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I even think like sometimes it might not even be like what is being said, but how it's being said. So that
For
when
sure.
people are
Yeah.
listening to it, they can hear how you're talking in natural rhythms or you're sounding like their friends or what conversations that they've had with other people, which brings out different dimensions.
Sure. Like, can you get into somebody's head enough to where they feel comfortable that they can share the third or fourth word after the sentence that they've given everybody else? You know?
Exactly.
Like, can you get to that? Because if you can get to that, then you're having a real conversation.
Right.
You know, and it comes back to like, what are you going to use it for? What are your intentions for doing this podcast? Like, why are you doing it to make money? Are you doing it to build a brand? Are you doing it to like blah, 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 blah? There's a million reasons why people do podcasts, but then there's the ones that are like real as shit, you know, where like, okay, if this gets 100 views, whatever, we had a fucking amazing conversation.
Yeah.
If it gets a million
Oh, yeah.
views, cool. A million people got to hear our dope ass conversation, I hope, you know, but like it doesn't translate to money and sales and all that brand building stuff unless that's really what you're doing, right? I mean, and then if you already have a brand or you're a personal brand, then you also have brands, but like it's respect, right? So when you speak, I'm going to fucking listen to what you have to say because I mean, you know who he is, right?
Right.
So it's like obviously anybody that comes in here already has enough respect for like, okay,
I sure hope so.
I'm doing this because of you. I'm not
Right,
doing
right,
this
right,
for
right.
like,
Especially Big
yay,
Lex.
we're gonna get a bunch of views and I'm gonna get some Instagram likes and shit. Who gives a fuck, man? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess you have to give a fuck. I don't
Steve,
know, like,
Big
I don't know.
Lex, what is your purpose for doing the Hard Luck Show?
Oh, we're
Like,
gonna turn the tables.
No, I'm not. He brought up a good point. I think I know what mine is. But
I wanna
what-
know.
Yeah, what do you?
I mean, listen.
Come on.
Ultimately, I felt like I have a lot of friends that I think are cool, right? I think they're cool. I think their personalities, I think their stories are cool. Now, a lot of my friends, yeah, there's some that have done well in life and they, you know, I don't know. They're popular, maybe you could call them.
Right.
But I have a lot of friends that people are never, ever going to meet. Maybe they're guys that have killed somebody. Maybe they're guys that have been away for dope for a long time. Maybe it's Porky, who nobody knows. He's just my older homie, and I love him, dude. He's the coolest motherfucker. Or it's Diablo. And I wanted to create a platform where I could share who I think is cool, the people I care about in life. Whether they're popular, you want to hear or not, I wanted to get their stories out. I wanted them to have a place to come and share stories that I find are cool as fuck, that I like.
Yeah.
And so me having the podcast and being the front man of it,
Yeah.
I feel like there were enough people looking at me like, that dude's, what he's into is cool,
Yeah.
right? So if he's bringing on Porky, then I want to hear what's up with Porky. They must be cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I felt like I had that leverage. So I'm going to create this thing because I wanted a place to record and have all these conversations with my friends. And I thought, if people want to hear it, great. And if not, I get to bullshit all day with my homies and get the shit recorded, and I can listen to them anytime I want.
Right.
That's why I did this podcast.
Oh, Blue Eyes.
Great answer.
Why did you do this podcast? I mean, what is your intention? Serious. Don't make a joke. This isn't funny.
No, I always wanted to do a I wanted to do a podcast before we even talked about it, right? It's like a project of like it's almost like documentary filming, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But in my wheelhouse, it's like audio. I'm not a visual guy. I don't shoot a lot of video. You know, that's not my
Now you
my
do.
forte.
Now you
now
do.
I do, out of necessity.
Right.
And I love it. It's fun. And I also get to hear. So like when I come in here and I get to hear like parts of history and parts of
Yeah.
of psychology and philosophy and like all these different things that I don't get to experience in real life, and like different perspectives that people bring to the table, especially people that have been places that I haven't been to, in prison and, you know, in locations and certain times. And like those people are all, it's like curating something that I just never would ever have the chance to experience. Right. So, and like
Nice.
living
Another
that.
good answer. You guys are
Fuck.
full. All right, your turn.
Now your turn. Pumpkin.
Pumpkin lips.
I was pumpkin butt. No, there's a real pumpkin butt out there. You're not pumpkin butt. But go ahead, pumpkin head.
It's a perky ass for a guy.
Yeah, it
though,
is.
I will
It
say that. For me, you know, it's like two-part for me. I'll say this. One is I am interested in finding pieces of people that we didn't expect to find. So I like going in places or whatever in the interview process to get an answer that you might not have heard before. And I'm interested in exploring that and seeing different sides of people. And then I also just like fucking talking.
I was going to say, Chumahan likes to hear himself talk.
I just like
great.
fucking talking.
Talking. Yeah.
I can relate to
That's
that.
good.
I
That's
talk
honest.
all fucking day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, from 4 whatever all the way down to like 10.
Midnight.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fucking. I got a million different people. My whole life. What?
Gibber lips.
Do you talk to yourself?
Yeah, you have to.
No.
Come
I mean,
on.
no. I swear to God, I don't like drive and be like, oh,
Chumahan, what the fuck you doing?
I know what I'm doing. Don't I know what I'm doing?
You're not having full-on conversations with yourself when you're alone?
You don't practice
no,
like bits.
But I have been accused of talking to myself with other people. Where like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
answering the question.
They don't
right?
even need to talk.
They just need to sit there and hear it.
Yeah. Run a full interview and they have
Right,
you
but if
over
I
there.
don't have an audience, I
Right.
don't need to talk.
Okay.
No. And dude, that's been like that since day one of my
Sit down and
birth.
listen.
Yeah, from day one of my birth. Absolutely been that way. I've thought about this on my own where I've been like, maybe I'm like a sort of like a bat where it's like echolocation. Like I'm using talking to give shape to the world.
Right,
Like
right.
that's how I
It's the vibration that comes back. You know where you're going.
You absolutely talk to yourself, dude. There's no way after that statement that
It's true. I
In your head.
In my head, I do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's an insult. It's
No,
great. It's
I
awesome.
don't know. But in my head, sometimes
It
I'm going,
never goes off.
That was amazing.
Permutations.
I can relate, by the way. I talk a lot too. Not this second, but like.
No, we can tell.
'Cause I
and
do-
it's
No, we
good.
could.
I
and
do
we're
that.
good.
I
But,
fucking talk a lot.
I mean, this dude was like mesmerized listening to you talk. He's like, damn, this dude talks more than me.
I talk.
No,
more.
no,
I probably
I was-
do. I actually probably do.
I was listening to the connectors. I was listening to when you were speaking, Dan, and you were kind of moving off of a subject in your connectors, and then where you would pick back up to a slightly adjacent subject, and then you would work that one out.
Oh, he got the technique.
Man.
So when you're interviewing somebody, like just in my personal opinion, is like, okay, so if somebody doesn't answer a question that you want to ask them,
Yeah.
you go around and come back like a fucking lawyer in a courtroom, if you will, right? So you know what I mean? Like you go back later when they feel more
He
comfortable
does
with you
all that.
and re-ask the question.
I mean, let's
right? Like,
be honest, man.
that shit's hard to do.
This
though.
dude's a fucking attorney, bro.
Yeah.
He's
I-
got like, he knows how to interrogate. He knows how to like, he knows how to finagle and get your juices flowing, get you to talk on shit, knows when to signal.
Yeah, there's an
Like,
art to that shit.
There
though.
is an art
Yeah.
to it. And he's really, really good at it.
It's psychology.
I mean, when you hear that, if you were to maybe capture or get this guy giving like closing testimony on some shit,
Yeah.
you'd be like, fuck. Get this dude representing me now.
Convinced. My cousin Vinny over here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Times 10.
Yeah.
So he brings that to the show. He also brings a lot of intelligence. I mean, me and Sean are sharp guys, but like this guy's fucking super intelligent.
No, I
bro.
listened to
he's-
a couple. I know.
He brings shit to the table that
And he'll Google shit. Too.
yeah,
I
and
appreciate
he's
that.
able to unpeel shit
Yeah.
and go deep on things, and it works, man.
That's
It
cool
really
because you
works.
guys have like a team. Like,
Yeah.
normally when we do our stuff, like, so I do, like, we do kind of live shows at our spot and we live on the boardwalk in Venice, not literally, but in a building on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And like,
Hi.
it's really difficult to have a co-host. I gotta just give you guys credit right now because it's really fucking hard to do that. Because like, egos come into play, you know, like sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You guys
Oh,
bounce.
we've had a couple of those.
Sure, but you bounce really well off each other, and like you keep
He
somebody.
gets his butt hurt when I shut him down. Sometimes I gotta fucking shut this guy fucking down.
but then the
bro,
guest-
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm part of the fucking show. Can I fucking ask a fucking question?
But then the
Jesus.
guest is like, you gotta. Then we're oh shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's actually a fucking good tactic.
I think
you know?
I was thinking about this. Part of the reason is there's like part of the formula why I think it works is Sean's a shut-in, so he's quiet most of the time.
Oh yeah, introvert.
And then Big Lux and I are in kind of separate lanes, right? I mean,
Okay.
in a certain way.
Sure.
There's certain similarities we have, but we have separate pieces of whatever the puzzle is. And so there's times where I can see myself drifting into something. I have to look at Big Lux and be like, am I saying that right? I'm not exactly sure because I'm not part of whatever that is. And Steve can pick it up and be like, yeah, well, you know, and then whatever.
yeah.
yeah.
Why was that funny?
Because he's not gonna mince words. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows, everyone knows you. So it's like, if you want to get an honest answer, just fucking ask him any question. He's not gonna fucking lie to
There's
kick
been
it, you know what I mean?
been a
So-
few times on the show too where we've had someone from like his sector or whatever we'll call it, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And I might have asked a question that went a little too far,
Yeah,
and then Steve will be like, "Yeah, we don't need to answer that right now." Like, he knows exactly where the line is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but over time you've kind of
Figured it out a
started
little
to
bit.
figure it out. Like
right.
exactly what was the crime? Who were they with on?
No, it's kind of endearing though if you don't know. Like I find myself
maybe
not,
about 100 shows in it.
not in that not in that world maybe because like
in that world it's not.
man I've had some times in Venice where I've been like, oh, don't say that, you know what I mean? Like
What's the
fucking-
worst?
oh, man.
What's the worst interview like fuck up snafu that you did?
Oh man, shit. There's been a couple, but like one is when it doesn't record and you're fucked. You know, like so. It's only happened to us 2 times in an entire 30-year history, and one of them was Joan Jett with Steve Olson. And the fucking
Shit.
the fucking tape cut, like it was a micro cassette recorder at the time, right? So it wasn't
Right.
digital,
Right.
and it just fucking didn't record. And so thankfully Joan Jett's like a super good friend of us and stuff. So she was like, we're not doing that again this week. Well, I'm going on tour. I'll do it when we get back. And then they did it again. And the other one was fucking Jay Adams and Mike Muir. And like that was the one that was like, oh man, those are the only 2 that's happened. I mean, shit happens though. Like that's the thing. Like,
But you
but
never
we-
recreate.
we never recreate because it's a conversation at the time, right?
Right.
So, and then, oh man, it happened one other time too with Ray Barbie and Christian Asoy, and it was like, yeah, exactly. No, fuck, dude. I was like, no. And Ray's like a jazz, like he's like jazz, man. Like he skates like a jazz musician. He plays music like a jazz musician.
Yeah.
So they were flowing in the interview, so he didn't want to redo it because it was like, no, we did it. You know what I mean? So it's been a few years and they're gonna do it again, but it was like, you know, it's just like it went down, and like those are like, you know, fuck, man. 3 that was the only 3 I remember now, like in 30 years. You know what I mean? So
We
like,
Let me tell you something, bro.
it
We
happens,
had
you know?
probably one of the most hysterical, greatest interviews ever with a young man that had stage 4 cancer.
Lion.
Talking to Lion Huron. Shout out to Lion.
Big shout out.
And I mean, this guy's situation is level 4.
Right.
But what he's taking you through is absolutely hysterical.
Sick.
With his bag falling off in a
Colostomy
swinging
bag falling
cool.
out, yeah.
And it was just...
It was the best.
It was the best,
the
bro.
chemistry was all right.
It was,
Sick.
it was,
Yeah.
dude. It was somebody fucking that's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Having you in tears. Like, when do
love
you get
that.
that?
Never.
When do you ever get that?
Never.
And
No,
he's a
it's
young-
sick. Yeah.
And fucking somehow
He's
the
not
whole
looking-
motherfucking
he's not
thing
looking
didn't
at
get
you.
recorded, bro.
He's not looking at you.
Huh, Sean?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna happen.
It's
No.
gonna happen.
I'm not talking,
Yeah.
but it happened on the greatest interview ever, though. It happened,
I mean,
right?
So okay, I won't feel bad.
we
now.
did. Listen,
Like,
No,
and then we
but
tried. And then we tried.
We tried to recreate it.
No, you can't do
Dude,
it.
it was
didn't.
nothing.
It was
You
nothing,
can't
man.
do it. It's magic
was
in
like
the moment.
dead.
Yeah, like it's
Didn't get it.
it's fucking.
It was
magic
like
in
the
moment.
interview had cancer.
Oh, dude, it was
Yeah.
bad, bro. We had to like get off of it because it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
It was bumming everyone out.
Yeah, you just can't. You can't recreate the magic sometimes,
No.
man. It's
Yeah.
like it's insane.
And you know what? And I look at that now, though, Sean, bullshit aside, I look at that now as like, it wasn't meant to be recorded.
right?
That wasn't meant to be recorded, man. That was meant to be an experience. That was like a gift, bro. It was a jewel. That moment we got to be taken there with him, and it wasn't privy for everybody's ears. It was
Right.
special for us at that moment.
It was
because
special.
we all heard it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was even fucking bummed out,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was really
it was
special,
hard.
man, you know? But that was like one of those things where it just, if it was meant to be recorded, it would have been,
For sure.
you know?
I wonder what some of the greatest bum outs are of all time from not hitting
That
it,
would be interesting.
right. Like
That would be
like
interesting.
a Jimi
man.
Hendrix
Yeah.
solo,
Oh, man,
or like some John Coltrane shit that brought everyone to tears.
Dude, we
Yeah.
asked Lemmy.
Jimmy Page was in my house playing.
Oh
and I
fuck!
fucking,
This
you know?
happened to Lemmy from Motorhead. So like when we went to like so whenever anytime Motorhead released a new record, you would go and listen to the record with the band in a hotel room. Fucking hilarious, right? So like we went once with Steve Olson. And he's interviewing Lemmy. They're fucking drinking, you know, because it's Jack and the Coke. So Lemmy,
Rest in
I was
peace,
driving.
Lemmy.
Yeah, so I couldn't drink. So, like, they're, you know, the fucking drummers playing drums on the bed. You know what I mean? And Lemmy's like, oh yeah, this song right here, it's called "Smiling Like a Killer." You know, and we're like, sick. He's like, yeah, because the first time we fucking played it, they didn't fucking record it. You know, and he was like all pissed off. So I renamed it "Smiling Like a Killer" and stared at the engineer the entire time I sang the song. And it was like the sickest story because he's like, my first take was the one. That was it. You know, and like, and he was fucking brilliant with music.
Yeah.
Like, Lemmy, you could sit there and wasted as he might have been, like he would tell you like, oh yeah, that Beatles record, the producer wasn't there that day. That's why the hi-hat sounds louder on that side because the producer that day moved it to the right instead of the left. So you hear it through the speaker differently than, I mean, he knew all
Is that
kinds
how
of,
you hear shit on
dude,
Blue
it's
Eyes?
crazy. Like,
What?
Do you hear it like that? Like when you're listening to records or podcasts, can you hear like, there's a
Somebody
fly.
open a beer can
yeah,
in the
there's
corner.
a fly in the corner. Do you hear shit like that?
I try to.
you can though. You can hear if a hi-hat's on the right or left though.
Yeah.
Right. And like, he was just full of like useless musical information.
That sounds awesome.
Wasted. But that whole song, he like, I took a photo of him that day. Like, I was like, show me the face you made when you were singing that song to the producer, you know? And it was fucking Lemmy, dude, you know? And it was like, "Smiling Like a Killer" is the name of the fucking song. You know what I mean? And he's like, just staring down the producer because he fucking didn't record the first take. You know what I mean? It's like, it happens to everybody at some
when
point,
did
right?
you when did you add photography to your repertoire?
Necessity, man. Same thing. You know, it's like I was in situations with the magazine where I was having access to things that you wouldn't normally get access to because we have
Right.
media passes to things. And so Terry, who started the magazine, was like, you should just start shooting photos, man. Like, we're missing all these opportunities. You know what I mean? So my friend Pat Myers, who was shooting surfing actually at Pipeline, gave me his old Canon camera and gave me like a 10-minute lesson on like how to load the film and here's what exposure means, here's what this means. I was like, okay, fuck, whatever. So like I just learned, you know, on film to begin with, which is expensive and
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
very.
it was rad, but fuck. You know what I mean? And then I just started picking it up, man. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's not like every photographer like doesn't go to school for photography and they become whatever, but photography for me was another way of interviewing somebody, but in a moment, right?
Did you say that was your first picture ever?
This picture was the first photo ever shot at the Venice Park.
Really?
So
Hold that up for the
guys
yeah.
did-
so that's Jesse Martinez, who you know Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse's our fucking.
That's bad.
What can you say about Jesse? So we couldn't grind because there's no coping.
Yeah.
So you couldn't grind, you couldn't do like any. So we had to do airs and inverts only.
Okay.
And the flat bottom wasn't poured all the way yet. So, but that was like our gift to ourselves. So we figured like, we found, you remember the old Venice Pavilion, of course. I mean, that fucking place was
Yes,
legendary.
yes.
So when the pavilion we found out was getting torn down, this guy Jerry Lewis, who's I'm
Ray
sure
Balls
you
of
know
Fire?
Jerry Lewis. his real name is Todd, but he went by Jerry Lewis, and he's like Venice to Venice can be, like got shot in the head, like was in the fucking military, came back from the military, got in a fight over on Abbot-Kinney back in the day, and some dude like shot him in the head. So he's got like a metal plate in his head.
What?
So sometimes we would be like, oh, the metal plate's going off, or whatever. Like it's full Venice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was driven, man. Once that they found out that the pavilion was getting torn down, him and Jesse were like, we need a fucking skate park in Venice. This is where skateboarding was basically invented, right?
Right.
So we fought our asses off as a community, which is one of my favorite things about Venice is like, not to segue, but it's the most dysfunctional fucking family I've ever seen in my life, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Right.
But poke that family, and you're getting fucking people that you don't want against you. And I'm talking an army, as you're very well aware. So,
Right.
like, once you go out of Venice with all your Venice people, and someone fucks with one person, it's like Tony Alva used to say, you mess with one bean and get the whole burrito. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of thing. And it was like, it was gnarly. Like I've seen it, but I never lived it. So I knew that like A, we're skateboarders, so we're not gonna fucking give up. There's no way. B, the city, you know, there was a lot of noise around like the LA Kings hockey team wanted to put a hockey rink down there. They had fucking millions of dollars in lawyers and shit. And we're like, we don't fucking play hockey, dude. Like, you know,
Right.
like there was a movie made in Venice. You know, Block was like, we don't play hockey. This is Venice. You know, and it was like,
Right.
that's the truth, though, right? And that pavilion is where fucking Jesse Martinez and Nadas basically invented street skating. Like Christian Asoy, the story goes that Christian Asoy went back to Florida to see Rodney Mullen skate, and he showed them how to do an ollie stationary without rolling. Christian comes back to Venice, shows it to Jesse and Nadas. Nadas ollies over a Pepsi can. Skateboarding changed forever, you know? And then the fire hydrant that's still there. But then Jesse and Nadas invented wall rides in the pavilion. So, like, you know, you talk about, like, POP Pier, which is, like, the Zephyr team originally. They fucking took skating and slammed it into the ground, made it cool, thank God. You know what I mean? And, like, style is everything. Hasoy took it with Jesse and Nadas and started street skating. And so they made it accessible to everybody from the walls of that pavilion. So no fucking way are we going to not let them put a skate park down there. So, like, I learned so much about Venice and community and people and resilience and, like, patience and impatience and political bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
And ironically, the people that had our back the most to get that skate park built were the fucking cops in Venice, which I would never think to my...
What was their
Ever.
deal? What was their
They were
line?
like, oh, yeah, we want a skate park because then we'll know where all you guys are. You know, like,
Right.
it was fucked up.
Shooting fish in
we're
a
like,
barrel.
yeah, cool. All right, yeah, join our fucking cause, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? And like, and then there's one city council member whose kid skated, and like he was in Santa Monica, and the lady next door kept calling the cops. So he was like, why isn't there any skate parks here? And they found out that we had this in the process, and the other council member was he was in the pocket of the Kings, you know, so, which we caught him on, by the way, fucker.
You caught him?
Yeah, we caught him, dude, because we're skateboarders, man. Like, we're computer people, we're fucking gangsters, we're fucking street people, we're every level. We're like Fight Club, we're fucking everywhere, dude. We're, you know, clean food or not, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you come into skateboarding, you're getting blue collar to white collar. So we had a lot of people, you know what I mean, that could do
Right.
things. So everybody played their role like a band, you know, like, okay, you're gonna deal with the city because you're professional, so you're the drummer, you know, like Jerry and Jesse, you guys are the ones who are fighting the cause, you're the singers, you know what I mean, like, if you want to relate it that way. But like, then we got the park built, and you know Tonan, dude. So Tonan, dude, oh my God, Tonan had the fucking best shit ever. He convinced the city somehow for him to do security while they were building the park. So he had his RV on the beach for like a year and a half, front and center. Like, he had the best property in Venice for like a year and a half. Only, like, if you know Tonan, he's the only person I know that could pull that off, dude. It was insane. Like, he's got the gift of gab, dude. And he convinced the city to let him do security. Sidebar, but it was insane. And then this was like the first day that the concrete was dry enough in the pool to skate it. So Jesse was like, all right, you guys, like, we're going there at 6 a.m. Like, this is going to be our gift to ourselves of, like, we're going to be the first ones to skate it and shoot it. So it was myself, and Block was there as well. And it was like fucking magical day. There's like, in this photo, there's like Hasoy's in there, Bennett Harada's in there, Tonan's back there, and Lance Lamont's there, and Block's right here. And it was like, it's one of those days, it was overcast, marine layer hadn't burned off yet. You know, It was
Yeah.
like one of those fucking mornings where you're just like, we're gonna get in so much fucking trouble for this. We do not give a fuck though, you know. So that was, you know, the rebar still. I mean, it was magical, but like Venice, like I don't know, it was this place, man. It was something fucking about Venice. It's like I call it. I may be speaking on a term, but it's like blue voodoo is kind of what we call it. Like you can't leave there and not want to go fucking back there. It's like it's impossible, man. It's never. And we live right on the boardwalk, so it's like never ending. Like bullshit, you know, like never ends. Like if you think you're like having a bad day, just walk to the balcony and you're like, yeah, nah, man, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that dude's having a way worse day than me. And like,
Could
but
be
that's
way
still
worse.
the homie at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's humanity at all costs. So it's like everybody has something to offer the world. You just got to figure out what they have to offer when they can offer it. Like a lot of the people that are homeless down there, and a lot of people look at them as they're like, oh, fucking homeless. Like, dude, the war is not on homeless people, bro. That's a distraction. Like, a lot of people are out there not because they want to be. Some are. Some are like, yeah, I want to live the fucking bohemian homeless lifestyle. Cool. Like, have at it, dude. You know what I mean? Like, just be respectful. We're all good with it. But, like, it's a you see it in Venice, like no other place in the world. Maybe that I've been, at least in America. You know, like, obviously the climate's good enough to be homeless, but...
Yeah, I think that can play a lot.
It plays a lot, but there's also, like, this... like humanity value thing, right? So when tourists come there and they're like, oh, look at all the fucking dirty Venice people. And it's like, well, you come here for that. You know what I mean? It's like when these big ass companies came to Venice and like try to be like, yeah, it's cool. It's hip. It's like our spot. And then they fucking try to change it. You know what I mean? It's like, you came here for this and now you're trying to change it. So like we didn't have any music venues in Venice for fucking forever. I think there's like 2 now, maybe, like the Venice West, I guess, just opened, and like the Waterfront just got their cabaret license, and thank God, because like we can do bands there now. But like that place was built on, you know, suicidal, infectious grooves,
Absolutely.
you know, dilated peoples, like the
Right.
Doors, like every genre of music came out of that fucking cluster of humanity, you know. And it's like they're just trying to, you know, wash it away, but we're not gonna let them, dude. You know what I mean? That's the one thing like I've learned. And I look at Lucky a lot like this. It's like, you know, don't yell at the streets. You know what I mean? Fucking listen to the streets. And if you don't do that, they're going to fucking come and smack you in the fucking back of your head. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be pretty, you know? And like Venice is always keeps you on your toes. You know what I mean? But if you have a finger into the culture of the community anywhere in the world that you operate, whether you're going to do like a brand or you're going to do, you know, whatever you want to do with your life, if it's a creative endeavor, you cannot do it alone. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, self-made millionaire. Like, bro, there's no such thing as a fucking self-made. I mean, like, you had to have somebody helping you at some point, or you've reached your hand out, or they've reached their hand out. It's a team effort. It's a community over commerce situation. Like, and if you're just in it for the commerce, then you're not going to be part of the community, you know? So I think when it goes back to the podcasting thing, like, what is your intent? You know what I mean? This podcast is a community over commerce podcast, in my opinion. I mean, like, look at the people you've had on this. It's like, we're not doing this because, oh, yeah, like, yeah, man, we're going to make so much money off all these views, bro. It's like, no, let's kick some real shit to people that think that way, that don't understand that's not how it works. And let us tell you how it works. It's a 4-letter word called fucking work. You know what I mean?
Man,
That's
that's
it.
true.
You know what I mean?
And consistency.
real.
Work.
Like consistency. I mean, for us, the biggest lesson that or what we've been through is that you got to show up consistently over time in order to create something that is a space for people to go to, and then they can start to rely on, it's going to be there. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's going to be there.
It's the hardest thing to do, by the way. That's where, like, it's hard for us because there's only a couple of us. So, like, oh, yeah, we have all these ideas and we want to do something. And we're like, we do it once or twice. And we're like, oh, fuck, everyone wants more. And then it's like, oh, but it's not on at 7 on Tuesday. You know, like, you guys are... This is the hardest part is consistency, man. And, like, you guys got it. And I'm stoked. Like... Hope I didn't talk too much, but I'm just like,
You didn't talk too much.
I'm super hyped to be here.
We're talking the same language.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Like,
Right.
yeah. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like what you guys, you know, what you do with your regular life and all that other stuff, I can say regular life, but like with the brands and all the other stuff is like, it's really cool for you to allow people into this type of world because it's not all the glitz and glam, you know? It's not like Cookies is fucking amazing. It's global. It's huge. It's famous, but it's fucking made by people. It's not a product. It's a fucking cultural fucking, billboard.
true.
Right? It's a
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
That culture, the cannabis culture, is a culture. It's not like, of course, all the rich people are trying to come in and do whatever. Of
course.
And that happens because it's new money. But it's like, you're not gonna kill the culture. Like
Right.
skateboarding, no fucking way are they gonna kill this culture. Like, it operates in the streets.
I got a
You know what I
question.
mean?
It's like
Yeah.
Good luck.
complete-
You know what I mean?
I got
Yeah.
a question related
Yeah.
to skateboarding, and it's off topic a little bit, but I've always wondered, where did the word poser come from?
Ooh, that's a great question that I don't have the answer to.
Because that was when I was.
a great question.
I was the worst skater. All right, I was exactly what you were talking about. I was first of all, I was fat. All right, and I tried to ollie my ass off, couldn't. I had my first board was a Nash board. Right.
Sick.
Yeah, but not at the time. It wasn't.
Would you have like the fluorescent pink? Or orange?
It was like concave the
Yeah.
wrong way.
Yeah, I
Right,
remember
like I've
this.
fallen off.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit about trucks.
My
great.
first board was a fucking Black Knight.
Sick.
What is that?
That
Yeah, see?
Sir?
that one of those boards literally just sold on eBay for fucking 15 grand.
Really?
Like not scratched original. Black Knight, that's the dude.
Black Knight, dude.
Yeah,
That's
my boy.
Super OG right there.
$5.99 from Thrifties.
Dude, that-
Then it was the GT. It was the GT, the
I had
fish
the
GT.
Volterra.
that's insane, dude.
You had the Volterra?
Yeah, like the one from what was that? Back to the Future.
Oh no
Same one.
shit, that
Yeah.
was the Madrid board.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Madrid made those, but it was Volterra. It was
Yeah.
the same.
The
Yeah, but
best
was
that I
Madrid.
could muster was Vision fucking streetwear fucking shorts.
Yes.
That was as close as I got to fucking being a cool skater fuck. I couldn't do it. This guy, Salmon, was actually a pretty good skater.
Sick.
Were you,
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I skate.
Yeah. that's good, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a different mentality though. Like, and I hear you because it hurts and like it's not easy to skate, but like it's also you can still be part of the skate culture if you just all you have to do is fucking care about it, right? I think it's with anything, right?
I love
mean,
the aesthetic and I love the spirit.
I
and
love
but I love it.
watching it.
I love
Yeah.
it so much, bro, that I'm willing to admit like I ain't a real one myself. I'm not gonna try to take up a space that belongs to somebody else.
Sure.
But I totally respect and
Yeah.
admire the art and the people willing to get hurt to learn how to skate.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad I started taking photos. Is all I can say because now I don't have to
couldn't
kill
skate.
myself.
I
anymore.
couldn't skate, but I went to Marina Skate Park
So
and
jealous.
fucking rode the easy pools.
Brown bowls.
Yeah, but I'd fucking sit there and watch
Jealous.
Frog, Polar Bear,
Whoa,
and these
Froggy.
dudes fucking pulling off fucking Christian, pulling off fucking, crazy airs.
So much
and I was
heart.
fucking like fucking 13, 14 years old, man.
Christian Hosoy's first photo ever published was from Marina. Ted Terrebonne shot it when he was 13. You were probably there. And
Yeah.
we have unofficially named the Venice Park the Polar Bear Dennis Agnew Park. You know what I mean? Because it's all about carrying the traditions along,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the fact that you got to see him go over the hip at the Marina,
Oh yeah, bro.
holy shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
these are photos I studied, growing up. Like I didn't get to see that. I'm like, dude, you're so lucky. I know that's your name, but like you're lucky to have lived.
Think
Were you
how-
there when they did the Devo video?
No, I
No,
wasn't.
oh,
no.
Think
That's
about
crazy.
how much the world changed when somebody did like some of these first tricks that Dan was talking
Back
about.
then, it was like there was like a handful of guys on the planet that were doing this shit.
Literally.
Like these dudes were flying up aerials,
Yeah.
grabbing their boards, coming down. Like that was what was up. There was like that was the shit. You just see him just going. That was the trick that was just going over and over. There wasn't a bunch of other shit.
Right.
It was that. How high could you get holding your board? And fucking
But with
down?
style.
With
Like
of course,
all the
yeah,
Venice
dude.
skaters did it with style.
And bro, these dudes all
Yeah.
dressed with fucking
Yeah, right.
had crazy fucking like Frog would wear his t-shirt on his fucking head. And fucking it was like
Froggy,
it's
dude.
just
His son Hayden's killing it now. Dude, that's
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
right?
it's
But they all
crazy.
had style. I mean, Soy
Yeah.
became a rock star.
well,
you know,
yeah,
like,
Soy was totally like
Yeah.
but it was
What a
my
lucky
dad fucking lived
upbringing.
my dad lived fucking like 4 blocks from there. In
Wow.
an apartment. And that was like the whole I just wanted to be so cool like those dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like those
Yeah.
dudes were like it, you know?
Like Jay and like those, yeah, dude, it's I can't even imagine what they were like when they were younger. But like, I was lucky enough to meet Jay later, but I don't think you ever grew up according to what everyone else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Sure.
like those guys pushed the levels of global skateboarding to this day. It's still a reference point of what skateboarding is, you know? And it's like, fuck yeah, dude, you got
Yeah.
to live that. That's
Fun.
like
I
insane.
also
Crazy.
just think about just how like revolutionary, innovative it is globally for urban spaces,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like it seems like only in these areas where people thinking about using this urban space, these for their own purposes, like for their own purposes. And it changed the world. We accept it now. Kids growing up now, dude, right by my house, there's a skate park.
Right.
And the kids, I'm not dogging it. The kids, you know, it ranges from like 4 years old all the way up to probably 45,
Easily.
right?
Yeah.
And the dude's there with his kids and everything, and it's totally accepted now. Like
Yeah.
it's not even a second thought.
Yeah.
But when these dudes were doing
Hell
it, when you were
no,
watching
bro.
it,
Ah, dude, that's
There was a small gap of guys, and all the young kids were just sitting around watching them skate.
right?
Nobody else was touching nothing.
This is what they considered us, criminals.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, not to,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
still like it that way, so keep it that way.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we still are. We're fucking,
Yeah.
we're criminals. We're fucking creatives. We're like, we're living on a different mentality, a different plane than everybody else in the world. And we embrace that shit. We keep skateboarding raw. We keep it fucking in the streets. We keep it real. Everybody can do whatever they want with it, but it's always going to remain something that's a creative, endless endeavor that you can't ever master. So think about that. Like if you're goofy footed and say you learned like 1,500 tricks goofy footed, okay, now go learn them regular footed. Good luck. You know what I mean? Like you can't ever master it. So it's a constant pursuit of something that has no end, which makes it almost a perfect creative endeavor, which doesn't exist in many places.
That's
and
true.
terrain changes. It also adds. There's new, there's old. It's like, you know, we lose a skate park. It's like losing a family member. You know, like that shit matters to us, you know, and like the terrain and what's made architecturally, what's made in the community and people, how we interact with each other and how we interact with the world is fucking different than everybody. And I wouldn't trade it for fucking anything in the world ever. You know, I mean,
Damn.
straight up.
Damn.
You heard it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what's up.
You heard it from Dan.
Yeah.
Juice.
Yeah.
Bro. That was
You heard it from Jan, from Deuce.
yeah,
Thanks,
Jam
me,
from
man.
Deuce.
Oh man, I can't believe I said that out loud.
Fuck, bro. Hey, you got to come back on again.
For
Oh my
sure.
God, I'd be
Yeah,
honored, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Good
that was
conversations, bro.
You guys are
Fucking
sick.
so much. I could just sit back and listen. I just really like. I really like your passion, and I really like that you keeping it real, man.
Thanks, man.
To no end, to no matter what, just
Yeah.
keeping it real. Dude.
The
True to
Homer,
the game.
the Homer of Venice, who's giving us the odyssey and the sagas of skateboarding.
Tell us where people can find find Juice Magazine, how they can check it out and get to know.
Oh, sick. Yeah. At Juice Magazine on Instagram. At Juice Dan is my personal one. And juicemagazine.com is where you can find all kinds of crazy shit. So,
You guys need to
Tune
go
in.
follow it, need to go tune in, need to go check that out. If you really want to find out about skateboard culture, history, and keeping it true to its
Yeah.
roots, that's where you start. Mm-hmm. Hey, and a big shout out to Brooklyn Dom tonight, man. 'cause
Hell yeah.
He's somebody that stands on it, you know, in the community and gives back. And to him, it's important that people contribute and give back to this great sport, this great lifestyle and culture. So big shout out to you too, Dom.
fuck yeah. Dom gets it. Skateboarding,
Yeah.
skateboarding doesn't owe you anything. You owe it. That's how it works.
Yeah. June.
Yep.
got-
Ovando Bone LLP. We wear braids to court. Let the tomahawks fly. The best legal representation that money can buy.
That's it. Old Blue Eyes, what you got?
Sean at movemental.media for all your audio and podcasting needs.
Yeah, you hear that crisp sound? It's because of Oh Blue Eye.
That's right. Also,
Yeah.
He
don't
doesn't-
forget to check us out at hardluckshow.com.
Nice.
Nice.
And got
Nice. Dragon
Bags.
Dragon Ball
Balls.
Z.
Dragon
Dragon
Balls.
Bags with
Dragon
a Z.
bags with a Z.
Dragon Bag and
Salmon's got
bags.com.
Dragon Bags with a Z.
with a Z.
And you guys know what? Cubanos.
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 A couple
Cubanos.
Cubanos
Yeah,
for you, bro.
come on.
Roll up a fucking 8.
Vibes.
Vibes, baby.
It's all
vibes.
about
all
vibes.
about the vibes. It's all about vibes, and it's all about the good vibes.
Hey, thanks
Cubanos.
for having me on, by the way, you guys.
Yes.
If I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah,
It's
you're good.
been a
Of
fucking
course.
honor. I
Yeah.
appreciate you both.
www.supermaxhardware.com. Vibes Rolling Papers. Shout out to Cookies, Esteban Oriol Soul Assassins, Cookies SF, and www.supermaxhardware.com. Go pick up some gear. Always listen to Hard Luck Show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And thank you again, Dan, from
Yeah.
Juice Magazine.
Fuck yeah. Thank you guys.
Right. Right on.
Hell
Out
yeah.
of here. Hasta la vista.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. All women should smell like strippers. All women should smell like strippers. All women should smell like strippers.